Welcome back to thecrochetcrowd.com. I'm your host Mikey, and in today's tutorial it's all about the granny square. In 2014 we have 2 crochet cruises in February where all of our passenger guests are asked to bring 6 granny squares each. This tutorial is all about getting those passengers up to speed on what size Afghan squares that we need to do. On the cruises, we are going to be putting together these Afghan squares in order to make Afghans for Project Linus. Our cruise is co-sponsored by Red Heart, where all of our passengers will receive a $100 gift bag as well as gifts from thecrochetcrowd.com. So let's get started on working in these fabulous colors just like you see. And if you're not coming on the cruise, this particular tutorial is still great because you can still use it for making other Afghans that you may have in mind. Now, as per my guidelines, we're working on this particular granny square. It's just a traditional granny square, and if you have some free time, great. If you can make more than 6, it'd be even more fabulous because we can get more blankets off to Project Linus at the end of each cruise. Now, we are being co-sponsored by Red Heart, and I'm asking that all cruisers please use Red Heart Super Saver in order to do these Afghans so that all of our Afghans have the same texture and feel and kind of coloring. You can use any colors you want. I decided on the white and the kind of the surf blue and then the red because those are the Carnival colors, and I thought, you know what, it's a Carnival cruise, it is the crochet cruise, the first ever, so why not make all of my squares to that particular theme. You can make your squares any color you wish. If you want to do a solid, if you want to do a mix, that is up to you. We're also asking that all passengers use a size 6mm or a size J, same thing, a crochet hook. In my hand today I have a Furls crochet hook today, and you'll be able to see that for the very first time. I've never used it in the tutorial up until now. So let's get started. I'm going to start off with the middle and work our way out, and you will notice that these particular squares, there's only 4 levels to it, so it's very simple, and there's also a written pattern available in the more information link of this video if you prefer to follow along that way instead of follow me on camera right now. To get started, I'm using Red Heart Super Saver, and this is strictly just a white. Again, the colors are up to you, and we're going to create a slip knot. Remember that this knot never counts as 1, so we simply just want you to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and with that we need to form a ring for the very center of our granny going into the center, and then just grab the yarn and pull through, and voila, you will have a center ring. And then what I need you to do is take this straggler tail now down, just put it around the outside as if it's a round donut, and keep it on the outside so that we can lose our loose end in there so that you'll never be able to see it. So let's move along to round number 1. In round number 1 we simply just chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the rules of crochet that counts as a double crochet. So we're simply just going to double crochet 2 more times into the center, the very center of this ring. My yarn is a little stiff coming out of the yarn balls. It was fine up on the upper level. Now that I've come down, it's a little stiff. Now we simply just chain 2. 1 and 2, and this is the first corner. Coming back into the center of the ring, again the straggler is just holding down on top of it, and we're just securing our way around that so it's getting stuck into position. So 3 more double crochets into the center of the ring, and I'm letting go of the straggler at this point. It just naturally wants to fall in place anyway. So we got that, chain 2, back to the center of the ring again for another 3 double crochet. Okay, now we're back to another corner, 1 and 2, so chain 2, and into the final for the 3 more double crochet right into the center again, and this is the final side, and this is the final for me for using white. I'm going to be switching off, and you'll be happy about that because I know white's hard to see, and simply just finishing off by chaining 2, and then we slip stitch it to the top of the beginning chain 3, just like so, and I'm going to show you how to weave this off. So we're now in a position, so just grabbing our snips, so just like so, and I'm just going to pull up like that and just kind of snug, pull it snug, and then I just wrap it once around the corner there, and then I just weave it through the stitches here. And I actually decide to go back, not only this one, but I go back another turn because I know that when I go around the outsides, especially on the outside corners there, you can really trap that yarn in so it will never fall out. So do that for every color fastening off that we're doing in this project. And you can see you now have your 4 corners. You have some stragglers, which I'm going to snip off right now, and then we're going to move on, and I'm going to move on to the surf blue next. Okay, so I'm going to start off. This is actually just called blue. I'm calling it surf blue because it's not navy blue. I know, I'm kind of crazy that way. So I'm just going to create a slip knot, and I just want to put it onto my hook. Just like so. This is the way that I start granny squares. My biggest fear in granny squares is a granny square falling apart after it's the afghans together. So I always put a slip knot here, and I go right into the corner, and I grab the straggler and the yarn going to the yarn ball, and I pulled through both of them through. So they're still on the hook, and I just pull through, and that counts as just chaining up as one. Okay, so we're gonna let the straggler fall down. Okay, and I'm going to keep it down in control at this point, and I simply just want to chain 2 more. So 1 and 2. So essentially the fastening on chaining 2 counts as 3 for the rules of double crochet. So let's just double crochet 2 more times into the same corner, and see how I'm keeping control of the straggler. It's getting caught as I'm going around it. That's perfect. So I can trim it later without worrying. Now that I did the slip knot here, I can trim it over here, and I'm not worried about any of the yarn pulling apart. So we just simply chain 1. We're going to our very first corner on the other side, and we're simply just going to 3 double crochets. So in the corners I always have my own thing that I call it. I think it bothers people that I have my own nickname for it, but I call it 3-2-3 configuration. 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet back into the same, and that is a corner. So I just remembered as the 3-2-3 configuration. Why add the word configuration? I don't know, sounds cool. So we're gonna chain 1 after we've done that, and we come into the next corner for a 3-2-3 configuration. And again, for those it's 3 double crochet, 2 chain, 3 double crochet, all into the same corner. 1 and 2. Coming back this side for 3 double crochets. So we've turned another corner, very simple. And now we chain 1, coming into the next corner. So there's the space in between the corners I call is the runway. We don't really have much of a runway at this point. And again, that's just my own terminology just to help myself remember. And we are working on a corner, so it is the 3-2-3 configuration. So when we started, which is the very next corner we're coming up to, we only did one side of it, so you can see there's 3-2-3 configuration. There's only 3 here. So we're gonna just chain 1 first, and then we're just gonna finish off the corner. So half of it has already been done from the way that we started it, so we just have to finish this side. So it's 3 double crochet. Okay, chain 2. And now this is just the final. So we just go into the very top of the chain 3 that we started off with just a slip knot, or slip stitch, sorry, and that will finalize that. So let's move on to your next row, and we're going to keep this color on to match my current granny squares that I'm working on. So I'm ready to go on to my next round, and in this case I'm not changing color. So if you're doing solid or doing 2 of the same color in a row, this is how you do it. Just chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and coming back down into the gap itself, and you're going to do 2 more double crochet. So it's like we started on the last round, but we didn't cast, or we didn't fasten on. We now just chain 1. We always chain 1 in between the groups of 3. We come into the center gap, and it's 3 double crochet. So this is the runway now. So this is the space in between the corners along the flat edge. So this is where you do the runway, the catwalk. You chain 1 again, and coming back into the next corner for a what? Yes, a 3 a 3-2-3 configuration. And that's 3, and that was 2, and this is 3. You know, sometimes you just got to make up stuff that makes it work for you for memory, and that's mine. So chain 1. Okay, we're back into the center between the runways again. This is between the corners, so it's the runway, and it is 3 double crochet again. These squares really don't take long. It's chain 1, and going into the next corner we have a 3-2-3 configuration. 3 double crochet. So what are you thinking of my of my crochet hook? This is the Furls crochet hook. It is really quite fabulous. I'm actually thinking it's better than Tulip. I know I've been using Tulip for a couple years, but I'm really loving this hook. So chain 1. So come backing into the center again, so it's 3 double crochets as normal. And chain 1 and 3, 2, 3. So yeah, I find this hook is really quite amazing. I wasn't sure about the grooves that are in here, and actually they actually work really well with your fingers. Especially my fingers tend to fall kind of in between the gapping like that, and it provides extra gripping for me without really having to hold it. So we're in a corner, 3, 2, 3. So it's kind of my product review of furls at the same time as doing this. But yeah, so chain 1, back into the runway. We are coming up into the final corner again. This is the runway before the corner. Okay, chain 1, and then the final corner. We've already got the first half done, so we're going to do the other half. Just 3 double crochet and chain 2, and we slip stitch, and we're going to fasten off, and fasten off just like you did as if it was the white. And I'm going to meet you back up. I'm going to go on to red, and it's the final revolution of these Carnival crochet cruise squares that I'm doing on board. I'm ready for the final color, and it's just strictly red, and I'm creating a slip knot like I mentioned before, going onto the hook. Now I'm one of those, maybe I got OCD, but I don't like ever attaching to the same corner. I always like rotating it to another corner. I always find in these Afghans, if you're always going to the same corner, you kind of always get a line that kind of looks like you've been attaching. And as to a seasoned crocheter, you probably could see it. So just sticking your hook through the corner gap again, grabbing both, coming around, and pull both through. And we can just let the straggler fall down. Okay, so it's a small straggler in this case. You do get used to not having to waste a lot of yarn. So the 1 and 2, just like before, and we come down for 3 more or 2 more double crochets into there. And that straggler I'm keeping down, so it's going around it, so I can trim it later without worry about it falling apart. And then we're in the runway. So here's what we have. We have the runway chain, so we have to chain 1 first. And then we come for 3 double crochets. So I'm not going to keep you for this entire revolution because it's just the same as what we've already done. I'll just take you to the first corner. So we got first one done, chain 1, another. So if you're doing a full size granny Afghan and you never wanted to put your squares together, you just want it one solid square, you just keep going around just like so. So chain 1, and it's the corner, 3, 2, 3 configuration. So very easy. I'm going to just speed up, and I'll meet you back up in just a second where I'll be completing this and just fastening off. All passengers, please bring at least 6. If you can make a lot more, we will have more Afghans for Project Linus. Please do not bring any completed Afghans with you, as we do have to take them on board, and it'll be very hard to get off hundreds of Afghans at the end of our cruise. So just bring your squares. We'll assemble these together as a community on board, and welcome aboard for all passengers traveling with the Crochet Cruises for February of 2014. I'm coming around the corner here, and it's the final finish line, and remember, it's just like before. We have to finish the final corner off. We've already started it when we started, but now we just have to finish it when we come back to it. And that was 3 double crochet, chain 2, and then slip stitch to the top of the beginning chain 3 that we started off with, just like so. And so now we fasten on, or fasten off, completely weave in our ends. And again, just a really great idea for Project Linus for the Crochet Cruises for February of 2014. This is also a really great idea for those that are collecting granny squares online in order to make Afghans for other charitable causes. So thank you for joining me today on behalf of the Crochet Crowd. We hope to see you at the Crochet Cruise on February of 2014, where we'll have all of our granny squares coming together in order to make fabulous Afghans together as a community. Until next time, we'll see you.